The first season of Arcane, League of Legends' official animated series, has finally come to an end. Are we all okay? Now, like many League fans, we've watched parts of or entire episodes over and over again, and not just to get our hearts broken again, but to uncover hidden Easter eggs that Arcane writers and animators have placed in the series for us to find. Here are just a few of the Arcane Easter eggs that only true League of Legends fans will fully appreciate. Now, before we dive into the world of Arcane, obviously, massive spoilers ahead. This is your last warning. If you haven't watched all of Arcane, please come back later after you finish the series to avoid any spoilers. It's only 9 episodes, even if emotionally, it probably felt a lot longer than that. Alright, let's do this. At the beginning of Act 1, we see Vi, Powder, Milo, and Clagor rob Jace's lab in Piltover. Now, when Powder's forced to throw the loot into the river, the kids have to return to Zaun empty-handed. While they descend back into the Undercity, they pass through an abandoned house where we can catch a glimpse of a gentleman Cho'Gath painting on the wall.
Yep.
The Terror of the Void, most often seen literally consuming other champions on Summoner's Rift, takes on his most elegant and arguably most iconic skin form to meet League fans in Arcane.
It's funny, isn't it? How your best friend can just blow up like that.
Another protagonist of the story that unfolds in Arcane is Vander, rebel, barkeep, and foster father of Powder and Vi. He's seen for the first time in his bar, The Last Drop, where he saves someone from getting scammed. It could be said that the Hound of the Undercity has a nose for people in trouble.
You'll learn to love it.
In fact, as soon as he sees his kids, Vander understands that something is going very wrong, and after talking with them, he goes to his friend's shop to try to make things right. In Benzo's shop, there are many items that any League player would find valuable, from the Heart of Gold to Rabadon's Death Cap. But one item hidden from the view of many is the Eye of the Ascension, next to the mask used by Echo in later acts when he becomes a Firelight. Later in the act, Vander is taken by Silco to the criminal's hideout. Vander confronts Silco and refuses his proposal to come back to working on the World's Worst Group project by saying that he's not that man anymore. To which Silco slimily replies, "I'll show you what you really are." He did it just like that.
I'm just not that man anymore. Now I'll show you what you really are.
Immediately afterwards, we see Vander, the Hound of the Undercity, being dragged away with what the subtitles accurately noted as foreboding music in the background that calls to mind the music that League players hear when Warwick goes hunting. Finally, in the last episode of Act 1, we can see a hint of Fishbones, Jinx's rocket launcher and second weapon in League, in the drawings that Powder leaves on the floor in the room where she is left by Vi when she and the other boys go to try and rescue Vander. Let's keep it moving to Act 2, more specifically to the scene where Silco's henchmen are unloading the airship with barrels full of shimmer. When one of Silco's men places the barrels on the ship's deck, we can see the silhouette of Gragas holding his barrel on his shoulder. Gragas, of course, is another iconic champion from League's roster. He uses his barrel as a weapon, as only one truly worthy of being called a rabble-rouser in search of the perfect pint of ale could be.
If you're buying, I'm in.
We know that on the airship, Powder, now Jinx, causes Silco's smuggling system some problems. And even if that doesn't really upset him, the explosion during the Progress Day celebrations in Piltover does.
I'm doing this for us, Jinx.
Mad at Jinx, Silco storms into her lair, finding the girl humming and working to the tune of her song, Get Jinxed. The song was first released in 2013 as Riot's first ever music video introducing a champion. Always in Jinx's laboratory, we can see various objects collected or built by her throughout the years. Among those, there's a rocking horse, which is more like a rhino, but it's the same one that Jinx rides in the Get Jinxed music video. Next up, we see Caitlyn meeting Vi for the first time in episode 5. The Enforcer asks the Trencher for her help in finding Silco and whoever is behind the explosion in Piltover. The two arrive in Zaun, and Vi brings Caitlin into a brothel to ask for more info about Powder and Silco. While the two are there, they encounter various kinds of people, two of whom are wearing a mask resembling the one worn by Kindred, the Eternal Hunters. Part lamb and part wolf, Kindred are the twin essences of death, roaming Runeterra with each other's masks covering their true nature. Right before the second act ends, we finally see Vi and Jinx reunited. In an emotional sequence, Jinx tells her sister that she's changed, and Vi calls her Pow Pow.
I know. Pow Pow, I know.
On the surface, that's derived from Jinx's original name, Powder, yes. But League fans will note that that's also the name of the pink machine gun that Jinx uses in tandem with Fishbones both in the game and in Arcane. Jumping into the third and final act, we are introduced to the Firelight Hideout. Colorful houses and all kinds of objects adorn a giant tree in the middle of Zaun. Among the various items scattered around the courtyard at the roots of the tree are several skulls of various creatures. One of these skulls seems to be the same bird whose skull adorns Zaya's shoulder in League. Like many of the game's champions, Zaya is deadly as she is beautiful. The Vestayan revolutionary travels alongside her lover Rakan, who just happens to have a matching bird skull on his robe as well. At the beginning of episode 8, we see a flashback from Mel's childhood of when she was still with her Noxian family. In the flashback, she's wearing a dress decorated with a pattern that resembles the one on Leona's armor, somehow linking Piltover's counselor to Targon's Solari tribe. Finally, in the last episode of Arcane's first season, there is somewhat of a reveal in the final scenes. For a brief moment, we see Singed's lab and someone hanging from the ceiling with tubes of chemicals attached to them and a familiar hand with claws. It is very, very likely that that's going to be Warwick. But there is someone yet else lurking in the shadows of Arcane, always present and following us every step of the way. For every breath we take, every move we make, he'll be watching us. Of course, we're talking about Teemo. Now there are of course many more that we didn't hit in this video, so let us know what some of your favorites were in the comments down below, and of course like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and want to support the channel. Sound good, Cupcake? Catch you back here real soon.